Hello, nice to see you all. Radek Zaleski, senior partner at Netguru here. I am connecting pretty late from Krakow, talking with Lisa Nestor from Mexico City. Is it correct, Lisa?
That's right. Streaming in from Mexico City. So fun location this week.
Lovely to talk to you. You are a CSO at AirTM. Could you tell me a bit about yourself? What is a CSO and what do you do at AirTM?
Sure. Happy to do that. So as you mentioned, CSO, which stands for Chief Strategy Officer. At AirTM, I guess, well, to start off with, this is my first time having a Chief Strategy Officer title. So I've been at the company, it will be 2 years in January, and have learned a lot about, how to kind of lead in that role. But more practically speaking, I oversee our operations, kind of thinking our operations, our business strategy, and just do a lot to ensure that any major project or initiative, whether that's technical or partnership, gets implemented smoothly within the organization. I focus a lot on communication and alignment, and then really helping the team understand the goals and where we're going, that every employee is empowered and feels good about what they're doing. And then AirTM itself is a payments platform. So we spend a lot of time looking at our payment metrics and making sure that we're as efficient and priced as well as we can be in the market and all of those things. So a lot of oversight of our payment operations.
So for people who are new, this disruption talks is often about a dumb person, that is me, asking dumb questions to smart people like Lisa and to explain me different things. Hopefully, Lisa will be able to explain me a lot today as a chief strategist. So for me, what is interesting right now, as you are in this payments / digital currency space, for me as someone who looks at this industry, I mean, both as a company that is working in, but also as a consumer, I feel there is a general bad reputation for digital currencies. A lot of talk about the FTX collapse, about the crypto is a scam. So is it an issue, and should I trust with this notion that it's something not good?
Well, I think financial services or working or using a product in finance always requires anybody to, make sure they understand what they're getting themselves into, whether that's a credit card or a loan, definitely if you're doing any type of investment activity. And so I think when it comes to using cryptocurrencies, deciding to use a payments product, money is serious. Nobody's happy if something happens to your money. So I think it's always important to be eyes wide open when you're choosing a product or service. That being said, you're totally right. There has been a fair amount of bad press and what we'll call like cryptocurrency.
Right.
FTX as a crypto exchange, essentially a place where users could deposit some funds and then start buying and trading different digital currencies, had a huge implosion. A ton of people lost money, and that is horrible. So, and that's one of like many things. I guess I will go back and say that scams are not unique to crypto. Scams, especially around money and finances, have been around for a long time. And so I think that crypto is a really unique technology that kind of opens, new possibilities for scammers to do scams, but it's not the technology itself. That isn't something that's inherent in, how the technology works or how you can use it. So I think it's important to kind of differentiate those things. I would also say there's many use cases around cryptocurrency and the phrase that I use more often, which is digital assets. And so, if somebody is saying check out cryptocurrency, make, 300% yield, that's going to be a scam.
Yeah.
Where we focus more on the payment side.
Right. So for me, this part it is important, right? Because I agree with you, both about this bad rep, but also about those get rich quick schemes. How I view it is that digital currency can be a solution for certain challenges or applications in a real world. But if you could explain me, like, someone who's not into it, like, why should I care about digital currencies? How it is different from, digital banking or scheduling a wire? I can go to a bank and say, can you transfer money there? Sounds like it's done digital. I don't know. So why should I care about digital currencies? Why should I, think about it as something new?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, well, one, something that our company strives for is to provide all of the services and benefits of digital currencies without making it about the technology, without, kind of positioning ourselves as a crypto product. So hopefully as a consumer, especially over the next 10 years, you will think less. It will just be like you open up an app and you want to send a payment, and now it's just faster, cheaper, better, right? So I think that is definitely the end goal. In the short term, I would say that there are different groups of people who have really great use cases and should care about crypto and digital assets.
Could you explain me a bit who are such examples?
Yeah, so I would say there's like I said, 3 categories. The first is individuals involved in payments, receiving cross-border payments, especially I would say cross-border payments between currencies that don't have a lot of liquidity, or cross-border payments that have typically been really hard to do, like small dollar payments, $10 or less, all over the world, right? So now,
if I would try to wire $10 right now to Australia, probably I would pay $50 just for the transfer, right? Or
that's exactly right. And then try to do $10 to Nigeria or Kenya. You might pay even more. So exactly. So if you're an individual who gets paid internationally, who, sends payments internationally, those types of things, I think digital assets and in particular stable coins, just because they remove a lot of the volatility of what we call like non-sovereign assets or crypto assets. That's one of the use cases. The second is if you're an individual who lives in a country with a challenged currency, super high inflationary currency. And the thing is, these individuals, they've been on cryptocurrency and stable coins for a while. So I kind of think with this use case, if you're in that population, it, nobody needs to tell you. If your, local currency is losing value rapidly, then I think it's very natural for you to look for ways to mitigate that. And digital assets and stable coins certainly provide that solution. And so I think it kind of, democratizes what has existed for a long time, which is individuals in these countries being able to get access to foreign currencies.
Right.
That's the second one. And then the third one is if you're just a, tech or finance nerd and you want to kind of play around with smart contracts, you want to understand what decentralized lending pools, what they can do, if you're interested in trading or like understanding different protocols and crypto assets. I think those markets are much more for hobbyists and enthusiasts than people who have kind of real economic use cases. But that area will continue to grow too, and it's a lot of fun.
So thanks for explaining. So I will try to use a potential example, and please tell me if I got this right. So let's say I am a digital product designer living in a country which was hit by inflation or a political turmoil, and I want to make sure that I'm getting paid in a hard currency like dollar, but it's pretty hard to wire me this money onto my personal checking account. I could use such solutions like digital currencies. just for that, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So my question is, what's currently the main obstacle for adoption of such solutions? Is it like a regulatory? Is it like people are not used to it, or there is a low knowledge about such solutions? What do you think?
Yeah, I think part of it is it just takes time for, I will say most importantly, the companies that distribute money, the payers, to kind of integrate these types of technologies and start making these types of payment methods available to recipients. Over the last 10 years, probably even longer than that, we've seen a huge spike in freelancers, right? Like that was a big thing with COVID too.
Yeah.
Suddenly everybody works from home. And so using a
Yeah.
freelancer makes a lot more sense. And so, these people maybe typically got paid with like PayPal. But, now there can be alternatives out there. And I think a lot of these users they want to get the most out of their money. And so they're exploring a lot of options on their side, but ultimately it's kind of the institution or the company who's sending the payments that has to, be open to the idea of making these payments move that way. I think the other challenge is off ramps. We can also recognize in the world of crypto scams, finance has had a pretty tumultuous year. And the truth of the matter is that for a lot of, I would say, especially more emerging markets, finance is the de facto on and off ramp for digital assets. And that's just not an acceptable solution. There needs to be more options for users. So if you are that employee and you get paid in a digital asset, eventually you're going to want local currency. You have to pay your rent, you have to buy groceries. Yeah. And so you need a really smooth experience to move between those different types of money and assets. That's a big area we focus on at AirTM. The off ramps are what matter. But I think that's another big point of friction. If, maybe you save a lot of money or you can get paid much faster in the first step if you're receiving a digital asset. But then if it's a huge hassle to kind of cash that out into local currency, you would rather just get the money paid in your bank, even if it takes a week.
Right. One of the challenges also I see, internally, for example, in our companies, that we work with a lot of global talents in different regions, right? And potentially, I feel both our partners and us, we could use such digital currencies to, pay them. But also, I think we are kind of afraid of the issues with, regulatory booking. How do we, manage this? Is it kind of legal? That type of things. Is it an issue that you're observing?
Yeah, totally have heard that before. So something that's cool about AirTM is that we both have a retail wallet, but we have an enterprise product. So we onboard companies, and basically tell them like, this is a great new way you can disperse payments to your employees, or we're kind of on the bleeding edge of helping people say yes to crypto, I guess you can say. And one of the things that we've heard companies say is like, I don't want any digital assets on my books. Like, I don't want to, fund my account and then maybe I'm going to be dispersing over the course of the week. And so there's some kind of balance in digital assets. And I don't know how to put that in my accounting books. I don't want to do it. Exactly. So part of what we've done is just take that problem away. As much as we can, we allow companies to stay in dollars and, work with, or euros or whatever, they're kind of initiating with, if that's what they want. And then we work with third-party liquidity partners to say, like, when you want to make that payment, we'll just immediately transfer or exchange it from dollars to digital assets. We use USDC, and then disperse those payments to your end receivers. So I think it has to be compromise, right? We want to educate and make people more comfortable with these assets. And I certainly see that. But at the same time, you have to meet companies where they're at if you want to do business. And so I think that there's ways you can kind of, you can help.
So how I feel it is going to happen, or maybe not going to happen, is that if there is going to be a pressure from the people or companies that want to receive money, and they will try to put this pressure onto the payers, we might see a change, right? I can imagine a situation that we have like 50 contractors, and each of them say, I gonna need to, you guys send me money not from traditional wire, but using this digital currency solution. Things might change, right? I think this might move the needle, right? But also without that, I think it will be hard for businesses to change their, how they approach things. So it will be very interesting to see if this grassroots adoption is putting enough pressure, right?
Totally. Yeah. I guess, 2 examples that I would put are, well, the same scenario you just said, but imagine it's, freelancers saying, you know what, I'm actually not going to get jobs from this platform. I'm not going to get jobs from Workana because it matters to me to get my payment in stablecoin. And if all you're going to do is transfer to my local bank, like I'll go work somewhere else. And so, those market forces drive it. And then to your point, I think there's also that kind of like ecosystem tipping point. So another kind of use case I've heard a lot around B2B payments in Latin America. So, how many kind of like suppliers need to come on board and say, if we need to do a payment between, Uruguay and Brazil, like we also have to do one to Colombia, and we also have to do one to Argentina. Like instead of us having to worry about all these currencies, we'd rather just use USDT. And so they say, can you pay me with USDT? And then, suddenly there's somebody they can pay with USDT. And then it's just so much easier to be kind of managing that single digital asset. I wouldn't recommend you using USDT, but this is what I hear is happening. And so I think there starts to be that snowball effect where like enough.
Nice one when you said that you don't recommend using anything.
Yeah. But everything has its, feature advantages. So I get why some people choose it, but yeah.
I'm just laughing that if you're in this business, it is always better to say, sometimes you don't recommend certain solutions, you just provide options and end users has to decide.
Yeah.
Regarding this, we have an interesting comment from Piotr, from Senior Product Manager from Ramp. This is a company in this cryptos space, and he commented that in Brazil and Argentina is very high adoption of stable coins through PAX. I guess this is how you read this. For cars, there will be always problems with cross-border and issuers policies, right? This is something I think we've discussed. And especially in such countries like, for example, right now, Argentina, which is there's a huge...
wow, yeah.
I don't know if I should call it challenges, because this is how, democracy works, that they voted a certain person to govern the country, but there are certain decisions being made, and they might or might not impact the whole fiscal policy, and impact on currencies might be huge, right? So I can imagine that for many, let's say, digital natives in this country working with global companies, they would love to be paid still in hard currency, which will be, stable coin adopted to dollar, right? So I can feel that for such solutions that we are discussing here, such changes might substantially increase adoption, right?
Oh yeah. Well, Argentina is our biggest market as a country, and it's, driven in a large part just because people there are so onboarded to stablecoins and kind of understanding the value of having access to dollars for them. So absolutely. But in general, we have a belief that there is a kind of surge in what we call digital entrepreneurs. online workers. And when you start to become a digital native worker, you become more open-minded to digitally native money, right? And so I think there is going to be this kind of crossing trends of more and more individuals being online, having exposure to things like stablecoins, and then somewhat unfortunately, continued destabilization in some local currencies. And I think that is going to push adoption a lot. I think it will be interesting to see if adoption goes beyond just stable coins and people start to embrace what we call self-custody products, where you really are your own bank, so that they can avoid like that FTX type issue. Because for me, that's kind of the next step. It's like, oh, I want to be able to choose to get paid in, the best currency that I can. And I also want to be able to, have complete control and transparency over where my money is and where I'm holding it. So it will be interesting to see how those trends progress over the next couple of years.
So this is for me, this is very interesting topic. As a digital worker myself, we at our company, we work with businesses across the globe. And if you would ask me, like, where do we operate? I would say legal entities in Europe, Poland, European Union, Poland, but we kind of operate in the cloud, right?
Yeah.
So what is your major currency? I would say, I know, and I think that is the main one, like in the cloud, right? I don't necessarily think for our main currencies to be the local one, right? So I think for the majority of so-called remote/cloud workers, this might be a default, situation, right? I can imagine you have 19 years old, you're a great hacker or a designer, you got your first gig, second, third gig from the platform like Upwork. Never seen local currency in your income, so so how do you make money? You make money in cloud. What's your fiscal system? It's like cloud back to US dollar. So I think it will be interesting to see how it goes in terms of adoption, as you've mentioned, with those digital natives further on, right? So talking about this, again, I'm an idiot, so I literally read things as they are. So we're talking here digital currencies. So I Google shit online, and then I read that the European Central Bank is going to introduce a digital euro, which is a digital currency. And also I've heard that the China is going to, or is it already introduced, like their digital currency. So I'm like, okay, is it the same or is it something different? What's the deal here?
Yeah, well, this is a big one to unpack, and I'm certainly not even as much of an expert as I'd like to be, but I think, it's interesting. I think you've kind of highlighted the main candidates, China, Europe, and then we also have the United States. And each of these countries has arguably a major currency. China is kind of vying to become one of the new, we'll say like top global currencies, but I don't think it's there yet by any means. And so I think each of these countries, and the United States has not explicitly, at least to my knowledge, said that it's going to be making a government CBDC. We've kind of taken more of this private industry route, but it is definitely being discussed domestically. Like conversations are happening. I think at a national level, the thinking is it is a huge strategic advantage and really military advantage to have a top global currency. If everybody, is willing to take dollars, then you can spend wherever you need, right? You can borrow in your own currency. Like these are really big benefits to, I would say at a national level. So I think a lot of countries are worried about losing their dominance, or we can say like their global liquidity and demand if they don't keep up with the technology curve, right? And then I think the other one, or at least this is kind of the dystopian view, is, CBDCs have the potential to connect government to an, identifiable individual in a much more direct way. And whether that means, I guess, in a beautiful world, you might say, oh, direct government to citizen payments, like this will be great. In a more dystopian world, you would say the government can turn off your wallet if they don't like what you're doing, which is like a really scary thought.
Lisa, I'm a simple person. Should I be happy that European Union is introducing digital currencies, or should I be worried and invest in solutions like AirTM? What's your take?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable that at least some governments are going to be experimenting here. And I think it's always good to be testing different solutions, from like a big term civilization and progress perspective. Myself, I don't personally support CBDCs or like what I understand their impact would be, unless there were some really interesting proposals on the table to maybe make government money and transparency a little bit, like government money and distributions more transparent to citizens, right? Like the trade can go both ways, where it's not just kind of government having more insight to individual spending. I like that right now in the United States, we kind of walked into having a private market solution test that's also now going to be kind of competing with other countries and what their approach is. Yeah, and I would say as a markets person, I like the idea of this being more at a private company level. But yeah, I think like I said, for humanity, it's kind of good we're experimenting.
My take is that the best solution will win, and I think if those sovereign digital currencies will be user friendly, effective, cheap, immediate, there is a huge chance people won't care about those privacy or political issues. They will just use them, right? That's one potential scenario. The other is basically this precisely thing will be the most important thing that people will think about, care about, and this will make all those sovereign digital currencies dead on the arrival, because people will be looking for something similar to cash that is not traceable.
Exactly.
Right, can be kept private and untrackable. So it will be very interesting if this push play makes any sense. Me personally, I don't get it. Like, I'm reading this landing page and I'm like reading first time, second time, like, okay, why should I care? I can already transfer my money. What's the difference? I understand the difference. You are talking about the digital currencies with stable coins. This I get.
The difference for government, but maybe not the difference for you.
Precisely, right? So, and I think this is one of the main challenges that the organizations, people behind it, they have issues explaining the value of it in layman terms, right?
Yeah.
What is in it for me? So let's see where it goes.
Your tax refund will come even faster.
We'll see about that. I would love to talk a bit about your company, AirTM. So we have this globalized world. Everyone is working remotely. Everyone is building nice applications. It's kumbaya, and we can use those super digital currencies to pay each other. But why should I care about the AirTM? What's different in it?
Sure. So AirTM is very unique in that we started very focused around payments and cross-border payments, but as we've understood our users and kind of gauged how the market is operating, I think we've evolved the product to be a lot more than that. As I mentioned, we are very focused on what we call digital entrepreneurs, and particularly digital entrepreneurs in the global South. That AirTM's 8 years old. Its roots were in Argentina and Venezuela, kind of giving people in super volatile economies access to kind of digital stable assets. And so that has always kind of been the lens that we see the world is kind of working with people who want better money or want access to better money. But what we found is that as great as it can be to give people like a place where they could buy digital dollars, it's much more powerful and a lot smarter to focus on helping people earn digital dollars. So what we've done is provided our retail consumers with a self-custody digital dollar wallet. It has USDC in it, and USDC, in our opinion, is kind of the premier regulated digital dollar stablecoin. That wallet is then connected to some incredibly powerful payment rails or local rails. So you can, buy digital dollars on AirTM, or you can withdraw those digital dollars to local currency, really through two methods. We have direct integrated payment partners, so that kind of in the more traditional way, a third-party company will take your USDC and deposit in your bank account. But we also have an integrated peer-to-peer marketplace, which is a way that we're able to really move small amounts of money to larger amounts of money very quickly and in a lot of difficult places around the world. We have thousands of cashiers who work online with us every day. And kind of similar to Uber, you say, oh, I have some digital dollars. I want to withdraw them to, and not even this bank account, but it can be to this mobile money account, to this e-wallet, to this crypto wallet. We will match you with the cashier at an agreed upon fee and rate. And then they will kind of, through a smart escrow process your withdrawal directly. And so it just allows us to have really well-priced, fast rails in markets that have been traditionally a little bit slower to kind of upgrade their payment infrastructure.
Could you give example of such a market?
Argentina, Colombia, Kenya. Kenya has been one of the biggest markets in growth for us this year. And so, somebody in Kenya receives a payment into their AirTM wallet and they can withdraw it into an M-Pesa account within 10 minutes. So oftentimes that may be, I guess I'll talk about the other side. We onboard these enterprises that come to AirTM because they want to often distribute mass payments to a workforce. And a big workforce for us is taskers. So people who are training AIs, people who are solving puzzles online, people who are doing, work that may get them $10, $20 a day. And so, these companies will come to AirTM, and so we can go from, their dollar account to, like I said, an M-Pesa mobile money account with that $20 payment in 10 minutes, which is really great. And the last point I'll make is that we've actually now launched what we call our Earner Hub. And so these companies are now posting jobs for the AirTM community. And so I would say, as a brand and as like a company in our mission, we really are excited about bringing as much earning opportunities as possible online and then making it super easy for people to get paid and take that money home. So it's nice. We have, Discord communities and those things. So I would say people should care about AirTM because we can do these cross-border payments. And we have a super powerful wallet for you to receive that money and do what you want with it. And then you can connect with a community of people who are also earning money online. You can check out other types of jobs or just learn from that community.
Lisa, I can't believe what I'm going to say, but this is one of the few examples of crypto-based solutions that actually sounds useful.
Yeah, well, been at it for a while, so
and has a real application. It's like a unicorn in that space. So congratulations, because my final question was, if I were explained to my mom, what should I tell her? Well, I think you just explained it beautifully. So I will try to paraphrase.
Sure.
You tell me if I'm right. So, Mom, we just hired people in Kenya, and usually it is super hard to pay them because they would have to wait, 1 week, and then they would have to pay a lot of money for this transfer, or we should cover those costs. And right now we have a solution that allows us to pay them very quickly for small tasks. Small jobs that would make no sense without this solution. So it's like a win-win for both sides. Is it correct?
Exactly. That's right.
So actually useful. Again,
Yeah, it is. It's actually useful. And then the person in Kenya gets paid, and then you, if you have more jobs, you can
yeah,
post them into AirTM. We have, over 3 million users across many, many countries, and that's been kind of fun for us too. A big learning area this year, but it's like, how can we bring our community of users who we know want to make money online to these companies and vice versa. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just moving money around the world and making that as smooth and easy as possible.
that's a very interesting product that you have, and thank you for explaining. It will be entertaining to see how it goes, further, and what are your obstacles and challenges ahead of you. I think one of those challenges will be basically competition uh, from those sovereign digital currencies, and I think those regulatory issues will be always a problem. On the other hand, I think the free markets always win, hopefully. So it will mean if there is enough value, enough bottom-up pressure, you might be in a great place. There is a very good comment from our audience that pretty nice potential network effect to accelerate adoption. Congrats. I agree.
Thank you.
Sounds awesome. Lisa, thank you for your time, and it was lovely to chat with you. If anyone has a question for Lisa, I think there is a moment to ask this question right now. In the next 2 or 3 minutes, we might be able to answer it. My final question as again this person who is not used to using this. So if I would like to start tomorrow, like, yeah, I want to, receive money or to get money out of the system, what should I have? What should I need? Like, do I sign up online and that's it? Or what's the process? If you could walk me through.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we have a retail product and an enterprise product. So if you're an individual, then we have a mobile app and we have a web app. Both are available, Android and iPhone. So download it wherever you want. And then, you can start playing around. If you're actually learning for earning opportunities through that mobile app, you can get a link to, our Earner Hub, and you'll see jobs posted. For example, we work with a company called Free Cash, where you can make a couple of bucks just for kind of like testing something out or looking at a product and giving your opinion. So those types of jobs are available right now. So start doing that, and then you can basically, if you have like a local bank already, or there's some type of local banking system or mobile money system that you use, check and make sure that's within AirTM's payment rails. You can just search that really easily. And then like what you'll do, how you want to take your money on or off the platform. So it's pretty straightforward. It's like any type of e-wallet app that you would see. And then on the enterprise side, you would basically go to our enterprise page and email us.
Okay,
and
so it's like a custom process.
We're working on having it be like a sign up on your own flow type of enterprise thing, but we do have to do a bit of compliance. So it's just an email, but we try to get people through as quickly as we can and set up. And then, like I said, you'll just fund your payments. Either you can do it directly with crypto if that's how you like, or you'll tell us, where you're based and what kind of fiat money you'll be using to get.
Perfect. Thank you for explaining me. No, I see no questions. Thank you again, Lisa. Lovely to chat with you. I learned a lot, and thank you for listening to us. And till the next time. Bye, guys.
Bye. Take care.